All right, here we are back in Memphis, Tennessee. This is the Cornies Notes version, Health Matters Simplified, so you can understand. And we are here today. We've got Basil wanting to chase the ball, and we're doing our after golf cool down. We're going to start off today stretching our hamstrings again with golf and really with life. We always get these tight hamstrings. So let's start stretching that. And I want everybody to remember that these live shows are for educational and entertainment purposes only. By watching these shows, this does not create a doctor-patient relationship, but I do want, check with your doctor and follow along and feel better. That's the goal of these. We want to follow along and feel better. It was really hot out on the golf course today, and so we're going to get started here with a little bit of stretching. We remember the spinal hygiene principles, and those are that we always want to move it, then we're going to stretch it, and then we're going to strengthen it. And so I did a warm up before the golf where we moved it, and then golf is quite a great exercise where you're doing a lot of walking, you're doing a lot of rotation. And so we did a lot of motion, and now we're going to stretch it out. And I want to do a new stretch today. It's a seated rotational stretch that we're going to do here in just a little bit. Right now we're doing this one that seems like I always like to start with this one after golf. We got Basil. So everybody knows we're stretching the psoas here in the back. We're stretching the external hip rotators here in the front. We're holding about 10 seconds. And as you know, I like to go back and forth from side to side. If you have any questions, just put those up in the chat box there. And we have a word of the day. The word of the day today is inflammation. Does everybody know what inflammation is? Well, let's think about it. This week I want to talk through it, and then I'll give you my definition, and then we'll read the Webster's definition. When something's inflamed, well, when we have inflammation, that's generally when something's inflamed. And so when something's inflamed, does it usually get hotter or does it get colder? Hotter. That's exactly right. So it's inflamed, it's got more heat there. And when it's inflamed, often it gets swollen. And when something gets swollen, that swelling, is that more fluid or less fluid? More fluid. That's exactly right. So we've got heat, we've got fluid, and then when there's inflammation, often we also have tissue damage, or we have chemical irritation, or we have infection, and so we have toxins or toxicity building up in that area. So when I describe inflammation, I like to describe inflammation as an accumulation of fluid, heat, and toxins in an area. That area can be damaged from tissue injury. It can be infected. It can have, different things that can cause that inflammation. Sometimes we can have degeneration or arthritis, and then that can create friction, and then that friction creates that inflammatory process. And let's we'll keep stretching. Where did I go? Oh, here it is. Today, once again, we've got Webster's. And I really liked the definition from Webster's. So we're going to go straight with this one here next while we're stretching. I changed here now, and we're stretching the hamstring facing towards the camera. And so we can get it a little different way. If you look at the different ways, we can stretch the hamstring this way, and then we can stretch the hamstring this way, and it gets into a little different spot there. So let's see. Stretch the hamstring this way, and we'll look at inflammation. Hi, Basil. Thank you. Thank you. Inflammation. Redness, swelling, and fever in a local area of the body, often with pain and often with pain and disturbed function in reaction to an infection or to a physical or chemical injury. That's number one. Number two, it's the act of inflaming, or number three, it's the state of being inflamed. So I just want to read that back smoother a little bit. One more time. Watch out, Mason. You're right in front of the camera. Oh, is that your ball? Careful. Just going to read that one more time while we stretch the hamstrings here. Inflammation, redness, swelling, and fever in a local area of the body, often with pain and disturbed function in reaction to an infection or to a physical or chemical injury. So that's exactly what we talked about. We have damage to tissue, and that damage, it's like a sprain strain injury, for example. We have stretching and tearing of tissues. That stretching and tearing of tissues creates what? Broken cells in the area, and fluid comes in, and heat. And so what do we want to do when we have that? When we have inflammation, what do we want to do? That's when we want to use ice. Ice is nice, as I like to say it. And so we want to use ice generally for about 15 to 20 minutes, as often as you want. And when you've had damage, when you've had trauma, when you've had stretching and tearing of the tissues causing that inflammation, that first 72 hours is really an important time when you want to make sure that you're using that ice. And there's a lot of different analogies that we can use when we're thinking about that. But let's go to this rotational lumbar stretch. So y'all know that one of my absolute favorites is laying on my back and then doing a full spine rotational stretch. I do that stretch every single day. This is a seated rotational stretch, and that's because after golf, again, my stomach is full. And so I want to stretch my back with rotation, but I don't want to lay on my back right now. So we've done it another way, but let's do it seated. So we're going to straighten the leg like we're doing the left leg hamstring stretch here. Then we're going to take this right foot and we're going to put it on the far side of the knee. Everybody follows that? So the left leg is straight, the right knee is bent. The right foot is on the left side of the knee, and then we're going to put the left elbow on the outside of the knee there, and then with our right hand over here, we're going to push down as we turn. Oh, yeah. And that is getting it. Hold that about 10 seconds, and let's do the other side. So now I'm straightening the right leg. Pulling a little stretch into the hamstring here. Then we're going to cross the foot over. We're going to push down and twist. Oh, it's good. Hi, Basil. Good pull. And twist. Oh, my back needed this. So when we think about inflammation, we can think of it like a house party. A house party? That sounds like fun. That sounds like fun. So imagine you've got a house and you can comfortably throw a party for, what do you think? Like 50 people? So you can comfortably throw a party for 50 people, but because you're inflamed, you got extra fluid in there. You got extra people at the party. So when you're inflamed, that's like having 65 people at that party. So there's too much. It's congested. It's not enough room to get around. Then if we use heat, that's like adding more people to the party. That's like saying, hey, guys, come on in. Come on, y'all more. Come on in. And that's not usually going to be the best choice. But if you use ice, that's like saying, hey guys, we got too many people here. We need to clear out some people first. So ice is like taking that house full of 65 people and saying, all right, 45 out. And then I want 20 new people coming in with brooms, cleaning it up. So we've got too many people. When we put the ice on, it closes the blood vessels down, pushes the fluid out. It pushes out the fluid. With the fluid goes the heat and the toxins. So when we use that ice, we're really helping to cleanse it out. Then we leave the ice on for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then there's a slight vasodilation response. And vasodilation is when the blood vessels get bigger than they were when you started, and the blood vessels get bigger and fresh blood comes in. And that's like that 20 new people coming in with the brooms to clean it up. That's your fresh blood coming in with nutrients and oxygen and healing power and strength. But if we just let the toxins and let the damaged tissue stay there and stagnate, and we just keep adding more to the pile, then that's going to congest up more, and then we get the inflammation lasting longer. So we want to get that inflammation out of there with the ice. All right, everybody liked the new stretch? I'm just going to show that new stretch one more time, and then I think I'm ready to lie down and really stretch out with our normal stuff that we do. So I'm crossing that leg over, I'm pushing down, I'm turning, I'm twisting. Oh, that feels good. Basil is very interested in this ball. Let's see. What a catch! What a great catch. Oh, that feels good. Anybody that started with back pain, this is really helping it to feel better. This is the new seated rotational stretch. We've got a straight leg. We've got our other foot over. We're pushing down to take some of that stress off and turning. Oh, it feels good. And sometimes your back will pop or crunch when you do that. It's okay if it does, but you don't want to be jerking it quickly, trying to create that pop or that crunch, because that could create a sprain or strain type of an injury. Hey. Is that my ball? That's Basil's ball. What a catch. What a catch. What a great catch. That was a great catch. So I want to do one more new exercise for my YouTube audience. It's not new for my patients. And this is one that you want to do if you have disc injury, but do not do this if you have spondylolisthesis. And my spondylolisthesis patients, you know who you are. If you have spondylolisthesis, opt out on this one. In fact, I'll do a pose for the spondies, and y'all spondies do this while we do the other. So spondylolisthesis, we're going to go into a nice, easy child's pose and add in the head nod. Now, low back disc sufferers, we're going to go into an extension. Some call these McKenzie extensions. In yoga, it goes up into a scorpion or an up dog. But we're just going to be really gentle here. We're laying on our stomach. We're letting our back relax, and we're lifting our upper body with our arm strength so that we feel the stretch there in the lower back. Hi, Basil. Good boy. And we're just kind of exploring that extension. For those that have studied the hydrodynamics of the disc, they'll understand how when we go into that extension, often that can help for that jelly center to get back into the nucleus in a more functioning way. So we come up, oh, and that's feeling good today. Those are feeling really good. And everybody remembers that I've had low back disc surgery. I had surgery at L4, a microdiscectomy in 2006. And so for people that have had disc injury and disc surgery, you want to follow along really exactly how I'm doing this stuff. That's going to be really good. I'm just checking to see. It looks like we're doing good here. All right. We're going to go probably a little bit shorter today. It was a really long and hot day here in Memphis, but let's get to my favorite stuff. So we're back on our back. We've got our feet and knees about shoulder distance apart. And we're starting now. Uh-oh, did I knock something down, Basil? Good boy. Starting now with a little bit of motion. We know this one. This is the pelvic rolls. And pelvic rolls and wag the tail and pelvic curls. It's just about getting movement, getting motion into that lumbopelvic region. This should feel good. My legs are feeling extra stiff today too. So let's go next to the knee to chest stretch. Right now we're doing the single knee to chest stretch. And as you know, I think this one should be called the knee to armpit stretch because we're really taking our knee up and pulling it up towards the armpit. If we were to take this knee and pull it straight up, then you're going to feel like a binding feeling here in the front of your leg. So you really want to just let that knee kind of fall off to the side and then pull it up towards the armpit. And then hold that for 10 to 15 seconds. Then do the other side. And this is really stretching the legs. And it's important to stretch the legs because we use them a lot. We're getting a lot of steps. Let's see. We talked about that. Getting a lot of steps is going to help us in a lot of ways. It's going to help us to stay healthy. It's going to help us to have a high metabolism. It's going to help us to stay thin. And today, so far, I have done 12,699 steps. That's a pretty good day. We got Basil here. Are you having fun, Basil? And if everybody is enjoying the information that you're learning here, please subscribe to the channel. Show your support by liking the videos. Of course, follow along and feel better. That's what this is all about. And any of my patients that are tuning in, hi. I'm really glad to have you here. People wonder how I can do some of the things after the surgery and 3 ruptured discs and not being able to walk. And this is what it takes. After doing a strenuous exercise, strenuous for your back, like golf, we have to stretch it out. We got to move it and we got to stretch it. Today, I'm not going to do any strength. But we can shift it to the side. We can straighten one leg. We can lift and twist. Pull that knee down. Oh, yeah. Let's add the upper body. We can put that hand out at 90 degrees. And then lift the head, turn it, look towards the outstretched hand. Oh, does that feel good? And let's do the same thing the other way. With this stretch, we're going to shift our hips. We're going to straighten the leg in the center of the mat. We're going to lift and shift and twist. Grab the bent knee. Pull it down. Put our hand out at 90 degrees. Lift the head, turn it, set it back down, and then let it gently relax. Remembering to breathe. Remember to hold these about 10 seconds. What do you think, Basil? Are you having fun? And I'm really feeling that in the hips again today. So let's go into the hip stretch. We're going to take a foot, cross it over the knee, and then pull that knee up. We're using the strength of the leg here to start pulling this leg up as opposed to doing a sit up and reaching for the leg. And we'll grab the knees and then to protect our knees and then pull. So the stretch is happening right in here. And this is just a little extra hip motion and stretching that I like to do. We're pulling it across to the opposite shoulder and pushing it away. And maybe pulling it across and pushing it away. Let's do the same thing with the other side. So we try to take our left foot, cross it over the right knee, use the strength of the right leg to pull the left leg up towards our chest. Get comfortable in there, supporting the knees. Oh, and I'm really feeling that in my left hip. Uh-oh. The ball hit the camera. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, Basil, I threw the ball and it hit the camera. Oh, that might make a good outtake. Now, my spondylolisthesis patients, let's do a little bit of knee to chest stretch. For the disc folks, sometimes this will aggravate you. If it aggravates you, don't do it. If it feels good, then you can do it. For me today, after those extensions, I feel like I need a little bit of that flexion. And for the spondylolisthesis in the lower back, the two knees to the chest, that's one of the best stretches that you can do. When you're hurting, that should be a relief position. So you can do that, and that's going to help. All right, let's see where we're at. We're about 21 minutes in. We've done really the basic stuff. I'm starting to feel a lot better here. So I'm going to come back into this one. And this time, when we first did these at the beginning and we had our check marks and we were stretching it out, we really weren't taking it too far. We were just kind of getting warmed up with it. Well, now we're going to stretch that out a little bit further. So when we stretch it out further, we start with those check marks, and then we start bringing that front leg forward, and we start bringing that back leg back. And as we rock forward, we're shifting the weight forward also. Feeling a nice stretch here in the psoas. And feeling a nice stretch here in the external rotators on the front. And as you lay down over that leg, you really start to feel that in the front leg. We're holding that and we're feeling good. And twisting back and forth. Oh, it looks like we have Luna. Hi, Luna. What are you doing? Let's do the same thing the other way. Hi. Good to see you. Yes. You're doing good tonight. Yes, I know, Basil. Yes, Basil's been having a lot of fun. We've got Luna joining us, and let's stretch this out a little bit more. So we're bringing that right leg forward. We're bringing that left leg back. We're shifting the weight over the right leg. So now I'm really feeling that in the right hip in the front. I'm feeling it in the right psoas here. Sorry, the left psoas here and the right hip there. And then this is really getting a little rotation into that spine. This next time, we're going to turn and then we're going to stretch the front of the leg here as well. So we started out with our check marks. Yeah, and this is really getting loosened up here now. And then we can take this foot here. Oh, yes. I have too many favorite stretches. But that is definitely one of them. Oh, yes. We'll do that the other way. So we get our legs into the check marks. We space it out. We back it up. A little crunch there. Oh. Hi, baby. Just like that. We got Basil. Hi, baby. Just like that. Oh, I want to do that 2 more times each way because that is feeling so good. Love that stretch because you get a lot of work done all at once. You would never go straight into that though. You want to work slowly into that. Getting nice and warmed up. Oh, remembering to breathe. Shifting that weight forward. And then I like to look up. And hold. What a stretch. Getting a stretch on the quadricep on the back leg. Getting a stretch on the external hip rotators on the front. Do it this way one more time. Where we come back. And just All right. Well, thank you everybody that joined us here tonight on this hot Memphis summer night. We got some of the hottest weather coming up here these next couple of days, and then we should get a little bit of reprieve. So this is about 25 minutes, and I think that is good. Thank you so much, Basil. You're such a good dog. Such a good dog. Yes, did you have so much fun? You did. You did. Right here, Basil. Right here. Yay! Good job, Basil. Good job. All right, everybody. Have a great night. I hope you had a good cool down, and I hope everybody is feeling great.